Chicago mayor's race is capturing much of the attention. Many suburbs also have races on the April 4th ballot. Greg Hart is a former Republican DuPage County board member. He joins us now to talk about the state of politics in the suburbs. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Ben.
All right, there's a lot to cover, so let's start big picture. We're seeing some big names and big money trying to influence some pretty obscure races out in the suburbs. What's going on there?
Well, you're absolutely right, Ben. What we're seeing take place in the suburbs of Chicago right now is nothing short of unprecedented. We've always seen some level of partisan political encroachment into nonpartisan races in Illinois, but what we're seeing right now in terms of the money, in terms of the endorsements, and of course in terms of the actual participation of the parties in the state of Illinois in nonpartisan races is something we haven't seen before.
So Governor Ron DeSantis out in Florida has made school curriculum kind of a culture war issue, and now Governor Pritzker's money is being used to finance the other side of that argument. And we're seeing that play out in school board races in the suburbs, even library board races. Do you see this as kind of a proxy between two potential presidential candidates?
Well, Ben, I don't believe in coincidences. And as you mentioned, the governor of Illinois donated over $500,000 of his own money to fund school board candidates and library board candidates here in the state of Illinois. I think it's no surprise that the governor is keeping his options open as it relates to the 2024 presidential race, should President Biden opt not to run. And I think this is him positioning himself as the anti-Ron DeSantis.
But on the right and the left, we're seeing money pour into like school board and library board races. We just showed a picture of Governor Pritzker, obviously on the left, and Dick Uihlein, who's financed candidates on the right. Both are putting money in. And I wonder how you think at its core that affects a school board race or a library board race, and is it a good thing?
Well, look, I think any increase in money and any increase in partisanship in this hyper-polarized climate that we live in is something to give a lot of people cause for concern. If there is any silver lining to this level of investment and attention being played to these races, it's that potentially it might boost turnout, and I think all of us can agree that more people voting is a good thing.
So Naperville, one of the suburbs that has a very competitive mayoral race there, what's your view on what's happening there?
Yeah, well, I think the Naperville mayor's race is truly becoming a battleground for the two-party system in Illinois. You see a more moderate, middle-of-the-road Republican, Scott Worley, running. He's gotten a lot of the support of the business community. On the other hand, you have a councilman named Benny White, who leans a little bit more progressive, that's really galvanized a lot of the local support there from labor unions. I think it's going to be a very close race, but what you see playing out is that the partisan nature of that race is really being put forward at the forefront. Councilman White has actually touted endorsements from people like Secretary of State Jesse White, Congressman Sean Casten. I think that's what he's trying to do to boost his turnout.
One thing you and I have talked about over the last couple of weeks, though, is how when national party issues hit a local race, when you ran for DuPage County Board President, you saw how a Darren Bailey at the top of the ticket affected DuPage County, which has moved from red to more blue. What's your view on how the Republican Party specifically succeeds in a place like DuPage County when you have all of these people at the extremes of both parties?
Well, I think you just said it. It's the nature of the extremes. I think time and time again, suburban voters have shown on either side of the aisle to reject political extremes. In one election cycle in 2014 and later at his re-election, Governor Rauner only lost DuPage County by 2 percentage points. You saw Darren Bailey lose DuPage by 15 points. I myself align a little bit more socially moderate, fiscally conservative. I only lost my race by 1.5 percentage points. I think that shows that candidates that fit their districts matter, and that's what the Republicans need to do to succeed moving forward.
Alrighty. Greg Hart, always appreciate your perspective.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you for coming in.
Appreciate it.
Lourdes?
All right.